It's a geologist's paradise in the Hawaiian Islands here, especially if you're interested in volcanoes. And let's just get a look over there at the mountains. We're dining at BRENNECKE'S tonight, my hula sister and I. Now, BRENNECKE'S has a wonderful view for whale watching and sunsets. We see Haupu from the south side. Now, within the BRENNECKE'S building is my favorite place. You may have seen it on Triple D with Guy Fieri. He might have been in it. Could have been any one of those guys that has the food shows. PUKA Dogs is now located downstairs of BRENNECKE'S. You can Chicago smoked sausage over there, or you can get a vegan dog. That's what I get. The best thing about PUKA Dog is the bun has a hole in it up at the top, so the hot dog just goes in, and they make their own mustards and relish with things like lilikoi, coconut. And if I didn't need to go sit down for whale watching tonight, that's probably what I would enjoy eating. And they're handy at the beach because the bun is enclosed, and it encloses the hot dog. Now, this hotel over here is the Wai'I Hotel. My former job as a stand-up comedian teacher. I'd like to do a bit for you right here. I wiped out over there one time. It's kind of not funny, but I'm a boogie boarder. Now, on this side of the island, as I've mentioned in other videos, our island is 4.5 to 5 million years old. Once it moves away from the hot spot and begins to erode, your lagoons and your coral reefs will form on your south sides of the islands. So this side of the island, underwater, is much different than Hanalei Bay, which is smooth sand beach with glassy waves. But over here they got big boulders under the water, and the water can be clear. But I guess I freaked out and thought there was something coming towards me that was gray. We don't have great white sharks here in Hawaii. We have yuhi, or tiger sharks. And there are many, many legends about people who get swallowed by sharks and survive by killing the shark. There are stories about people who have attacked sharks by punching them in the nose or the eye to save their lives. So over here is reef. I caught a wave. I came back and I landed on the reef. I was cut from the top of my thighs down. And the worst thing is, as a boogie boarder, you got to walk off with your fins on. And what happens then is you can't walk on the reef with fins. You're not even supposed to walk on those reefs unless you have tabis, and you're pounding opihi, which means you're prying the limpets off the rocks to eat. They're delicacies here. Check out my video on surfing turtles to see what the limpet that's eaten here looks like. This is my happy hour though, right here. Okay, here's an interesting plant I love to share with you guys, but I gotta find a flower. This is an alpaca bush. This thing about this plant is it grows only half of a flower. So this is Alpaca Kaua'I'S, which means the alpaca that grows down at the beach. But we also have Alpaca Kaua'I'S, which grows up in the mountains, and it only grows a half of a flower. So they're lovers that were separated. Long story short, that's a typical Hawaiian love story. They don't always end up happily ever after. Now, not too many people know that this is a cemetery. And I had a student who was related to the person that rests here. Traditionally, Hawaiian people were cremated and their bones were buried in the sand, and that's why it's hard when you want to develop something beachside, because many people's families are buried there. As a matter of fact, on the west end of our island, we have the Pacific Missile Range Facility, which is used to intercept ballistic missiles. It's built on a sand dune and a burial ground. So there was lots of protesting going on back in the day, in the 80s, I believe, if memory serves me, and prior to that. This is a Plumeria tree. Very typical lei. Very simple, very fragrant, very beautiful. They come in many different colors. I think because it's winter, maybe these aren't blooming or have no flowers on them. Okay. As a reminder, if you're a visitor or even if you live here, you know, when in doubt, looking at that ocean, don't go out. Always swim where there's a lifeguard, and only if you're an expert swimmer, expert surfer, should you ever go out in waves with a strong undertow. Even at Waimea Bay, Sunset, and Pipeline, which is pipeline. It's like a English word that we can pronounce Hawaiian. Pipeline. Anyway, when we're having the 25, 40-foot swells, yeah, even the professionals have to get rescued at times. Kelly Slater just won the most recent one held on Oahu. Kelly Slater is from my home state. He's got a statue in front of Ron John Surf Shop under the rotating sign in Cocoa Beach off A1A and the 520 Causeway, world's largest surf shop since 1963. They have the world's largest selection of Levi's, Offshore, Hang 10, OP, Lightning Bolt, and Sundeck. So, Ron John Surf Shop has a statue to honor Kelly Slater out there, but he did live here for a long time, especially while Andy Irons was a big contender. Andy Irons was a Triple Crown winner. He passed away, at least 10 years ago. But we still miss him. We're still proud of him. One of the best surfers to ever come from Honolulu, along with Bethany Hamilton. Bethany Hamilton is also from Honolulu. Laird Hamilton lives in Honolulu. He's always instrumental in rescuing and helping people out when there's floods. His brother let my cousin use a paddleboard one time when we were out there. So Honolulu, you gotta be community minded, because just like what recently happened with the landslide, if you get cut off from the rest of the world, there's no road there. The road ends about another 10 miles past Honolulu, and then you have to hike from the north side to the west side. We got Mama and her brood. Aren't they cute, everybody? Oh, she's sweet, isn't she? Now, it's common for a baby's first birthday to throw a luau for the child. And the reason for that was because post-contact brought a lot of diseases, and Hawaiians, being that they were isolated for so long, had no immunities to those, and they were a healthy people. So the population started to dwindle from the moment Captain Cook arrived. This is where we'll be going to eat. BRENNECKE'S. And you see PUKA dogs down there. Another mama chickie with all of her babies. Back to the baby luau. Why we have one on the first year. Because when all of the diseases came after contact, some children never made it to their first birthday. Birth rates went down. Hawaiians were dying left and right. By the time the queen was overthrown, the last queen of Hawaii, in 14 years, the population went from 1 million down to 40,000 Hawaiians. So it was a genocidal campaign. And once they overthrew Queen Liliuokalani, all they needed was the United States to back them up. President Cleveland did not, but McKinley did. So that's how the Hawaiian Islands were illegally taken or annexed by the United States. Looks pretty calm out there as far as wave action. It's probably only a 1 to 2 bumps, but there's a pretty strong current out there, and it's getting towards the big show. Okay, let's head up to BRENNECKE'S.